Do you have trouble using for and since? These are two important prepositions that we can use when we're talking about something that happened in the past or maybe started happening in the past. But although they are similar, they're not exactly the same, and we do use them in different contexts, and the phrasing that we use with them is different. So these can be easily confusing for non-native English speakers. But for and since are often used, and once you kind of understand them, they are easy to use. So today I'm going to talk about how to use them and what do they mean exactly, and then we're going to go through a speaking practice. These prepositions are often used in answering questions, so I'll give some questions and encourage you to come up with an answer, to answer them using for or since, or sometimes you could use both, you could use either. So let's get into it. Greetings, colleagues. I'm Timothy Barrett, and this is the For Business English Rundown. This is the show for professionals all over the world who want to improve their communication skills in English. Today, we're going to give an explanation of for and since and get into a speaking practice. Let's get started. For and since are both prepositions, and prepositions can be tricky. Sometimes let's tell if it's mandatory we need a preposition, or it's permissive we could use a preposition but you don't have to, or other times where you shouldn't use a preposition. So prepositions are always kind of a tricky part of English grammar. And for and since are similar, but they're not exactly the same, and sometimes we could use one or the other, but our phrasing has to be different because they are different words, we use them differently. So let's look at for first. We use the preposition for to say how long something occurs. We use the preposition since to say when something started. For example, they have been waiting in line for 2 hours, or they have been waiting in line since 1 p.m. Now, if 1 p.m. was 2 hours ago, if it's now 3 p.m., then in reality, those sentences mean exactly the same thing. They've been waiting in line for 2 hours. They've been waiting in line since 1 p.m. If it's now 3 p.m., those sentences mean the same thing. Otherwise, it could mean something different. When we say for, we're telling how long it is. They were waiting in line for 2 hours. How long? 2 hours. If we're saying since, we're saying when something began. It began here at this time. And we don't know exactly when it ended or if it's still ongoing. We're just saying when it began. Another couple of examples. He has worked in this company for 5 weeks, or he has worked in this company since November. And again, maybe if we're 5 weeks after his start date, they could mean the same thing. He started 5 weeks ago, or he's been working since November. Maybe it's the same thing, but maybe it's not. Maybe they're very different. He has worked in this company for 5 weeks. We know how long he has been working there. 5 weeks ago, he started, and probably continuing on. Not necessarily, but probably continuing on. So how long has it been already? He's been working here for 5 weeks, and it's probably ongoing. Probably. He has worked in this company since November. We know when it started. We don't know when now is. Maybe it's December or January. Maybe it's October. Maybe it's almost a year. But we know when it started, when it began. When his start date was, it was in November. Another difference, since can only be used with perfect tenses, such as past perfect, present perfect, continuous. But for can be used with all tenses. For example, he worked on his new assignment for 3 hours. Or Jane will jog for 2 hours tonight. Or Frank has been working since 5 a.m. Hopefully we have a better idea of how to use for and since. Let me go into some questions. So I'll ask some questions that can be used with for or since in the answer, and so you try to answer the question. What is your most prized possession, and how long have you had it? Now, a prized possession is something that we own, we possess it, and it's a treasure. It's something that we cherish. It's something very important to us. It might be something that's very valuable. My grandfather gave me a gold bar. Obviously, that would be very valuable if he had. But it could be something that has no monetary value. My grandfather left me this notebook. But it's my grandfather's, so it's very prized to me. It's my prized possession, something like that. So now let me go first. My most prized possession is my grandfather's watch, which I've had since 2012. Or my most prized possession is my grandfather's watch, which I've had for over 10 years. What about you? What's your most prized possession, and how long have you had it? Do you play a sport? How long have you played it? I like to play volleyball. I've played since I was a kid. How long have you been a fan of your favorite singer or group? I've been a fan for 5 years. How long have you had your watch? I've had my watch for 12 years, but I rarely wear it anymore. How long have you had your phone? I have had my phone since August. How long have you been awake today? I've been awake since 7 a.m. Or I've been awake for 4 hours. Now it's time for a written exercise. Type in the comments below the answer to this question. How long have you been learning English? So type it in the comments. Make sure that you use for or since in your answer. And don't be lazy, do your homework. What's your favorite hobby, and how long have you been doing it? My favorite hobby is probably reading, and I've been reading since I was a kid. What piece of clothing have you had the longest, and how long have you had it? How long have you had your shoes? I've had these shoes since 2020. How long have you had this TV? I've had this TV for 3 years. Who is your favorite sports team, and how long have you been a fan? I've been a fan since I was 7 years old. What's your favorite restaurant? How long has it been open, and how long have you been going to it? It has been open since 1953. I've been going to it for 3 years. All right, I hope this exercise and explanation has been useful for you. If you had any problems with any of the questions, please let me know in the comments. Otherwise, go back and you can try it again. Of course, just go back in time and go through it one more time. It can be very helpful. All right, time to conquer that like button and make it ours. If you enjoyed this video, then check out some of the other videos. I'm sure you'll like them even more. Work hard today and enjoy tomorrow.